Welcome back to the Authentic Human Podcast. I'm Michelle Vickers, and this is part 81 of the story of creation. So, we've been following the universal beings, the creator, and we're exploring our heritage and really the existence of humanity and the universe. And we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot of things yesterday, which we recorded part 80. Um, I know they don't come out back to back days, but ultimately we learned about ETs coming back into existence, which I think isn't a big surprise in the big scheme of things, and yet just hearing it from the creator, from the universal beings, that it's happening now, um, is comforting in a way, right? It's recognition of all the things we've known were going to happen are happening. And what I'm also feeling as I'm sharing this story of creation is I'm feeling a comfort in understanding existence and evolution from a different perspective, right? It's so different from what we've been taught and what we've been told about who we are and our history. And I'm finding it extremely comforting to realize that it's simpler, but it's way more dynamic. And it's answering a lot of the questions that I've carried since I was a child. So that's where the comfort is coming from. Yeah, I know exactly what they mean when they share a new bit of information, right? So, and that's the other part is, as I'm telling this story, as I'm sharing this information, it's all new to me. Everything that comes out of my mouth is new. And so there are times where I stop, and there's a pause. And it's because the energy is so different from anything that I've learned or understand about existence. And it takes me a little bit of time to allow the energy to come together and make sense enough for me to then share what I'm hearing or what they're saying. And sometimes they'll share a whole bunch of words very quickly. I don't get full sentences at once. I get words, one word at a time. Why? Because it really ensures that I don't control the narrative, which is important, right? You want the information to be as pure as possible, direct from the source. And that's always been my goal. And so I'm sharing information, and that's why sometimes I'll stop in the middle of a sentence because I'll see the end of the sentence and I'm like, whoa, and either I'm excited or I'm awed and so that's why this is happening the way it is, right? This is a live recording with a live audience, but it's pure. It's direct from universal beings. This is not edited. This is not, I've had a conversation and this is my impression. This is my interpretation. No, that's what we're actually trying to break down here is all of the impressions and the interpretations that we've been told, right? Whether it's in our history books from school and our education, whether it's from, spiritual backgrounds and different groups and sharing all kinds of information, whether it's from religious aspects or education, again, finance, it doesn't matter. It's from whatever the background is. For me, my goal is always to go direct to the source because I want the real information the first time. I don't want people's opinions anymore. I'm kind of over opinions. And so that's ultimately the goal. And that's why it works so well, right? With the universal beings and me, because we both have a similar goal, which is truth. And it's really, really simple. So today we've got Angelics back again, but it's interesting because we've got both first stream and second stream Angelics. And ultimately, what the Angelics want to share today is they want to give you um, their background. Okay, this is very cool. Their background of the story of creation. And what they mean by that is not only like they want you to start to have their understanding as universal beings because it's very, very different from what we've been told universal beings are, right? So, terms like God or what is there like 100 names for God in the world, or probably more now. But ultimately, the angelics want to give their perspective today because it's also understanding that God doesn't create everything. There's not one God and there's not a whole bunch of gods. It's right. There's the creator, whom many people call God. And then there are a number rather of, there's many, many, they're showing me like there's, millions of universal beings who then participated in the original existence creation. So when I say millions, like and we often will talk about the first stream of angelics, right? There was an original first stream, and then hundreds of thousands and then millions of first stream angelics were created. Why? Because each one of them is it's like each one holds a presence, right? So an actual aspect of that aspect of creation. And so each one knows, it's not like knows their place and holds their place in the world and they stay in that little corner, right? That's not what creation is. It's understanding that when you have a vibration, an instinct, an understanding of existence and how you contribute to it, then you can participate in it. This is why humans are struggling so much, is because we don't understand participation from a universal perspective. We understand participation as, collaboration in the sense of what we were taught in the education system, right? We all work together on a project. And so you do this and we separate it, right? We have a list of all the tasks that need to be done. And then we tick off who's going to take care of this and who's going to take care of that. But that's not how collaboration works on a universal level. Collaboration on a universal level is an innate instinct and understanding of how each participant exists and what their value is that they bring. Why can we do that? How can we do that? Because when you connect with another universal being, you have full awareness of them. You have full awareness of who they are, why they exist, what their contribution is to the universe itself, right? And that's where a lot of people get it confused. They think it's a purpose, like a job description, but it's not. It's a contribution. It's an understanding, an innate understanding of a particular aspect of existence. And what happens is when you have a particular aspect of your existence or of the universe that you contribute to, okay, you're now here to explore that in as many ways as you possibly can. Now, does that mean you're going to do all of them in this physical life? No. That's why you come back and have life after life after life, because that's when you get to explore all the different aspects of it. Okay. It's also why, as humans, we have different interests. We're supposed to. But it also means we can appreciate and understand each other. Because here's the reality, okay? There's a lot of people in the world that do things that I appreciate, but I have zero interest in doing myself. But I have a deep appreciation. Why? Because their work, their contribution to existence, okay, so it's not to society. That's our big problem right there, is we're contributing to society. As soon as you start contributing to society, you're contributing to civilization and you're not contributing to existence, okay? You're contributing to the illusion, which is everything based in the education system. So ultimately, what we want to come back to, and this is what the angelics are sharing right now, the first stream in particular, their reasons for sharing and contributing and participating in the story of creation is so that humans can come back to contributing to universal existence. For them, this is really important because they were the pivotal role that ensured we went from an intention of an experience to an actual experience, right? So they took the concepts that the creator had and they went, wow, we can run with that. That's awesome. Okay. They're the original. Let's run with that. That's what angels are. Okay. There's the first stream and the second stream. And so when you allow yourself to really feel that, that's when you begin to go, oh, wait a minute. Who I am does matter, right? That's what they want you to remember. They want to trigger that in you that you're meant to take those things you're interested in and run with them. You're meant to. We all are. And I want you, they're showing me, like, think about how many times as a child, in your childhood, did you think of things and you just wanted to run with? You wanted to run with them and run with them. And there was always someone holding you back. There was always someone who was saying, oh, no, don't do this, don't do that. Those people changed you. They, right there, in those moments, took your instincts and taught you that your instincts will deceive you, that your instincts will trick you into doing things that are going to hurt you, that are going to sabotage you. And the challenge, and this is what many, many people around the world are healing from, is recognizing that we have fallen into a belief system, right? That is based on financial security and financial independence. And as a result, we steer our children away from their instincts to make sure they follow the pattern. And so that is what the first stream of angelics, their goal is to reignite and reawaken your, it's not only your recognition of self, but they want to like reignite that excitement for life that you had, you know? And what happens is as you get older, you get almost bitter. It's like, oh, well, you know, I'm too old to do that, or it's too hard to do that in this world. And we come up with all these reasons why we can't do things because we don't have money and we don't have time and we don't have the support of this person or that person. The reality is all of those justifications came as a result of you being told as a child, oh no, we can't do that. We have to do it this way. Right? It's think about yourself in a classroom and you raised your hand to make a comment because you were so excited about what the teacher was talking about. And it took you into a level of inspiration that boom, you were over here and you were over there and you were all excited and you wanted to share it and you started sharing it. And the teacher was like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Or yeah, but no, come back over here. That's not what we're talking about today. You know, they took your passion and they negated it. And the thing is, we've been told that these are all the proper ways you act in society. You don't change the subject. You don't challenge the teacher, you know? And what happened is we lost our voice. We lost our voice along the way. And we came to a place where we surrendered, but we surrendered to our own demise. And now the first stream, that's so the first angelic ever in creation. He's saying, you know, his deepest wish, his biggest goal in his existence at this point is to reignite that fire in humanity in particular. Why? Because humanity has an immense amount, an immense potential. And for us to experience it, we need to go back. We need to feel that inspiration again. Okay? And so that's why he's sharing the story of creation. And then we have the second stream, Angelics. And they're they have a different experience. They have a different story. You know, their mission and why they came in was to share. They were created to create experience. And in doing so, so the first angelic, the first second angelic, he says, I had no idea the potential of existence until I started exploring it. And once I started exploring it, I understood what this world is all about, what this whole entire universe is all about. And he says it's one of those things that you can't really understand until you're actually participating in that aspect of existence. And so when you begin to recognize, right, it's that self-recognition, it's recognition that you're not only here, you're not only here for yourself. It's understanding that everything you do creates. It's funny the way he's showing me because he's using like an ear. It's like everything you do, everyone else can hear it. They can feel it. But when the ear is coming, it's actually like a shock wave of a vibration. So when you see a shock wave of energy go out around the world, around the planet, right? So it's like almost like an atomic bomb kind of thing where it hits and then the energy just goes whoosh and it reaches out and encompasses the whole earth. But what he's saying is you hear it and it's a vibration on the inside of your ear. And what he means by that is it's understanding that everything you do causes that reaction. Everything. And as a result, we're living proof that every human contributes in a way that they don't understand yet. And this is why, yeah, he's showing me like we as humans need to come back on, not on board, but it's more back into the understanding that everything counts, everything matters. And we've become complacent because there's only so many times that you can hear it doesn't matter, don't worry about that, right? The education system is brilliant for that, right? They ask you to do an assignment, but if you don't have the same perspective of the teacher, you're basically going to fail, right? Or if you don't have, yeah, it's a constant performance, but it's a performance based on what the other person is looking for and searching for and demanding. And as a result, you have, it's like morphed, literally, like your energy is no longer bold and full and beautiful, right? It's not a full expression of who you are. It's this shape that, so it's almost like if you think about, it's not a ball, but it's sort of round in like the fullness of energy of who you are, right? So your energy isn't like a human body, okay? It's not physical in your physical human form. Your soul is like, it's a mass, okay? And if you imagine your mass as sort of a sphere shape, but it's full, right? It expands out wherever it needs to go, whenever it needs to go. But when you're trying to prove yourself, to someone else, or you're trying to fit into someone else's belief system. Maybe it's, your whole community's belief system. Maybe it's your family's belief system, your company, whatever it is, okay, wherever you work. What happens is your sphere changes. So it'll get smushed down over here, and it's like you're trying to fit it into someone else's little shape, right? It's like Play-Doh almost, right? And you smush it down and you're trying to squish it in over here, and over there, all of a sudden it's got a big, indent. It's not big, it's not beautiful, right? It's become it's become a reflection of other people's opinions. And they want you to feel that right now. You are a reflection of other people's opinions. And that's a hard thing for a lot of people to want to accept and to see, okay? Because we think, well, I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I hear a lot of people say that all the time, but their energy is comprised of everyone else's belief systems, okay? So this is what the second stream angelics are working towards, is restoring your sense of self so that you can once again participate in evolution, so that the universe, right? So evolution has not, we haven't experienced evolution in over 50,000 years, because the moment that the control and manipulation started, humanity stopped evolving. Okay. And if humanity stopped evolving, then the universe can only evolve so much. Why? Because true evolution demands because, and it's not like someone up there demanding that you need to do this. It's just, that's how the universe works. It's evolution is based on the collaboration of the whole. And so this is where you hear a lot of people say, we are all one. We're all one, but we're not one that we don't think the same way. We don't do the same things. We weren't created to be the same energy. We were created to have the same abilities as far as awareness of the universe and understanding of energy and understanding of existence. But inside of that, we all have our own innate and very unique interests that we're meant to run with, right? But we can't do that if we're in a state of needing to prove ourselves to others. Why? Because your energy doesn't hit other people the right way. It's not hitting it. So when you work with universal awareness, how they were showing before, right? Where it's like, it's like energetically, it's like your energy, when you have full awareness, your energy, it's like a shock wave. So it reverberates out of you and it kind of goes out into the universe, and then it shoots out all the way around. Okay. And when it shoots out, everyone has the opportunity to pick it up. Okay. Now, this is also really interesting because this is where a lot of people are like, oh, I'm so empathetic, and I'm an empath, and being around a lot of people is too much for me. Here's the thing, okay? If it's too much, it's because you're still in that proving stage. It's that you aren't in a state of being able to withstand universal awareness. You're now in a state of constant need to protect yourself. Why? Because you don't understand how energy works and how it's communicating with you. So you've come to the place where your central nervous system is so overtaxed with energy because you're in a place of wanting all kinds of information, but you don't actually want to allow the wisdom to come in, right? The actual universal perspective. So what happens is you become inundated and then you shut down and you don't want anything. And then, you want your world, and it becomes smaller and smaller based on your need to protect yourself. Ultimately, that's what the second stream angelics want to gift you with, right? That's their reason for participating in the story of creation, is so that you can come back to that balanced state of being where you can recognize that not only do you have a role here, right? And not a role like you have a job to do and you got to get it done. It's and it's your responsibility. That's not it. It's you count, you matter, how you see things, that unique way that you look at things and that you contribute and that you figure it out and work with it and understand it on a universal perspective, not with your mind, okay? But your innate understanding of how certain things come together and what they're meant to do and how you're meant to bring other people together or whatever it is that you naturally do, okay? That's what they want to help restore. Why? Because when you're following those instincts, okay, you contribute to evolution, which again hasn't happened for 50,000 years. That's a long time. Okay, this isn't just one generation that this has been, or two or 10 generations, 50,000 years, lots of generations. Okay, and so that's ultimately, you can see now, like they wanted you to understand everyone has their own reasons for participating, right? Gaia, Mother Earth is participating in this story of creation. She's been here. She shows up from time to time. Again, we're sitting with the Universal Council. So Gaia's on that. All of the impactful universal beings that are, what's the word I'm looking for? It's the way they're showing me, it's everyone who plays a role in existence on a universal level, okay, is standing in the Universal Council. And so what that means is all of those beings who hold space at a level that we can't fully understand at this point in our human journey, right? Now, that's also important because originally we had full awareness of everything and everyone, all universal beings and all of their stories and their level of participation, but we lost it. We've lost it because we've been trained and we've been manipulated, but you know what? So what? So what? This is not about who trained us and to control us and who manipulated us. And that's the problem right now. And this is where I've got Pan here, I've got Jesus, I've got Gaia. So all of these universal beings, and they're here specifically to help. It's funny, the way they're saying it is to help humanity regain their feet, right? Their footing in universal existence, because we've lost our footing. And it's not because, we don't want it. It's because we've been trained to fear it. Okay. And this is why the conversation is often really uncomfortable when it comes to truth, when it comes to this level of truth, right? Truth isn't people walking around with opinions, because that's what this world is filled with. And so when someone, comes out with a universal perspective, which is absolute truth, it becomes a conversation. It's really interesting the way they're showing me it. Gosh, it's funny because they're showing me like a fist, but coming out, and then all kinds of other people believe that we can now have opinions on universal truth. And, this is where humanity's lost its footing. This is why, because ultimately we've been taught that opinions are truth and opinions matter and that opinions make a difference. And the difference that opinions have made is they have crushed our world and our society. And they have trained us to believe in so much fear and so much anger and so much resentment that now the way they're showing me, it's like humans walking around as fearmongers, and everyone's holding all of these beliefs, right? These opinions so close to them. It's like on their shoulders, they have bags and they're filled with all these different beliefs. And then they've got, packs tied around their waist, and they've got like weights tied to their ankles, and they can barely move and they can't lift their arms because there's so many opinions. And what they're saying and what they're really showing is you've lost your freedom of movement. You've lost your ability to move and to grow and to evolve because you're carrying so many opinions. And this is where, again, it comes back to that education system that tells you once you learn it, you know it. And once you know it, don't ever change, because once you know, you stand on that mountain and you act like you know it, and you're now an authority on that subject, on that aspect of existence, whatever it is. It's understanding that there is no such thing as a solid anything. And what I mean by solid is it's an aspect of this is what it is and it will never change. That doesn't exist. And the problem is that's how humanity approaches life. Everything that you believe is what it is. Everything from 2 + 2 is 4 to, this is this way and this is this way. We have so many of those. You don't even realize how many you have, but that is what you're doing. That's how you're living. Your whole life is based on them. And so for a significant portion of the members of the Universal Council, their goal is it's surrendering, right? Their goal is to help humanity surrender to the truth that we're in evolution. We are a part of existence and it is consistently evolving, which means there is no such thing as static beliefs. Static beliefs they're like poison. They're prisons. And every time you step into one, you are locking yourself down. You're locking yourself into a past. And here's the thing. Your belief system is meant to carry you until it is meant to change, right? So what that means is your belief system is meant to be continuously evolving. Why? Because you're continuously learning about what you're capable of. That is the intention of the entire universe. The entire universe is built on the one rule of existence, which is free will, which means everyone has any opportunity to do whatever they want. Okay. Because we are self-governing. So we're not here to damage anything. We're here to explore it. That's why we were created, right? To explore. What does that mean? That means that it's going to be constantly evolving. It's going to constantly change. So for anyone who's sitting there and is not comfortable with change, that is a red flashing light that says, listen, look here. Look at why you're uncomfortable with change. What is it in you? And here's the thing. It's not going to be one thing. It's going to be lots of things that have taught you to believe that change is bad. It's not going to be one thing. Those are your beliefs. But you're meant to consistently change, to consistently evolve. And the number one aspect of your evolution is how you see existence, which means how you see yourself in the world, how you see yourself in the world, and how the world exists. That is meant to change every single day, if not in every single moment. So if you're walking around saying this is this and that is that and he is that and she is that and they are this, you're not in evolution. And that is why the entire Universal Council is participating in sharing this story of creation, because their goal is to help humans understand that evolution is the reason for existence. So it's not something to be scared of. Opinions do not feed evolution. They feed fear, they feed scarcity, and they feed control. You can be controlled if you have significant beliefs. If any beliefs, you can be controlled. If you don't have beliefs, no one can control you. If you allow yourself to continuously evolve and to learn, no one can control you. Isn't that interesting? So your goal right now is to begin to discover where you feel passionate about the things you believe in. It's time to question them. And if there's not enough room, or if there's no space for your growth or the growth of other people in your life, then your opinions need to change. Your ideas and your beliefs about existence, they're ready to change. That's the point. They're ready to change. You know what that means? That means you're growing. That means you're learning and you're in existence. That's the surrender they're looking for. They want you to surrender to your natural state of being. You're not surrendering to anybody so they can control you. You're surrendering to your natural state of being, which means you're reigniting your ability to learn. And the moment you start learning is the exact moment you start contributing to evolution, to creation. You become inspired. You become curious again. And in your curiosity, that's when you start asking bigger questions again. Right? If you don't have any questions about your existence, you got a whole lot of beliefs and opinions that are holding you back. Because as a human, you are a soul. And as a soul, you are created in this universe to contribute to evolution. How do you do that? By asking as many questions as you possibly can. So go look at your beliefs. Let yourself discover where your beliefs have limited your growth, where they continue to do so, and see if you can give them a little nudge. See if you can allow yourself, right? This is the surrender. Remember, we've been taught that surrendering to someone else is bad because they're going to take advantage of you. Yeah, there's a strategic reason they taught you that, right? Why? Because if you surrendered to the truth of your own evolution, you'd be more powerful than any manipulation in existence because you can't be controlled. So, with that wisdom in hand, right now, it's time for you to go out and start exploring your potential. So start looking at your beliefs. Where are they limiting your growth? Where are they limiting your ability to explore, to be playful, and to be curious? Just give it a little shove. Give yourself a little shove in the right direction. Let yourself be playful. Let yourself be curious. And remember, the entire universe is on your side. So even if it seems like other people may judge you and people may think you're crazy, I'm 81 episodes into telling you the story of creation. Do you know how many people told me I was crazy for doing this? And how many people still say, what are you doing? You're crazy. Doesn't matter, because in my heart, I know. And my heart sees in your heart what you know you're meant to be doing. And I want to see you do it. I want to see it come out of you in ways that help you grow and help you start to recognize your worth and your contribution to existence. But mostly, I want everyone else to see how incredible you are. The only way that's going to happen is if you start trusting yourself. So let's build some trust. Go out and play. Let's get curious. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.